Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Welcome everyone. Happy Saturday evening. Welcome to Satsang. Those that are visiting for the weekend, community members, lights. It's wonderful to see everyone this evening. So we'll begin with some Kirtan chanting. And we're joined by a special guest this evening, Swan, who's leading the Journey into Sound program. So we'll begin with some of the integral yoga chants, and then we'll pass it over to Swan for the remainder of the Kirtan. So first we'll begin on page 10 in the blue booklets in the back there. Some of the opening slokas on page 10, and then when we get to page 12, we'll move into call and response. So beginning with 3 Oms first, finding a comfortable seat. Shivaya Gurave Sachidananda Murtaye Nishprapanjaya Shantaya Niralambaya Tejase. Now call and response, page 12. Shivananda, 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 Pahimam.
Shivananda, 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 Pahimam.
Shivananda, 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 Pahimam.
Shivananda, 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 Pahimam.
Shivananda, 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 Rakshamam.
Shivananda, 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 Rakshamam.
Shivananda, 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 Pahimam.
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 Shivananda, 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 Rakshamam.
Shivananda, 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 Rakshamam.
Om Namo Bhagavate Shivanandaya.
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 Sachidananda Guru Sachidananda.
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 Satchidananda Guru Satchidananda
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 Hari Om Hari Om Hari 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 Om
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 Hari Om Hari Om Hari Hari Om
Hari Om Hari Om Hari Hari Om
Hari Om Hari Om Hari 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 Om
Hari Om Hari Om Hari 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 Om
Hari 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 Om
Hari 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 Om
Hari Om Hari Om
Hari Om Hari Om
Hari 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 Om
Hari 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 Om
Hari Om Hari Om Hari 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 Om
Hari Om Hari Om Hari 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 Om
Hari Om Hari Om Hari 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 Om
Hari Om Hari Om Hari 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 Om
Hari Om Hari Om Hari Hari Om
Hari Om Hari Om Hari Hari Om
Hari Om Hari Om Hari 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 Om
Hari 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 Om
Hari 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 Om
Hari Om Hari Om
Hari Om Hari Om
Hari 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 Om
Hari 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 Om
Hari Om Hari Om Hari 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 Om
Hari Om Hari Om Hari 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 Om
Hari Om Hari Om Hari 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 Om
Hari Om Hari Om Hari 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 Om
Hari Om Hari Om 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 Hari Hari Om
Hari Hari Om
Hari Hari Om
Hari Om
Hari Om
And we'll pass over to Swan.
Om Namah Shivaya. 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 Namah Shivaya. Om 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 Namah Namah Shivaya. Om 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 Namah Shivaya. The Divine Mother in all of her glorious forms, effulgent, and here always to protect us, to support us, to love us, and to read to us at lunch. Jai Ma, Shri Ma. We love you, Divine Mother. Jai Maha Shri Maha Jai Maha 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 Jai Maha Shri Maha Jai Maha
Shri Ma, Jai Ma,
Jai Ma, 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 Shri Ma,
Jai Ma, Shri Ma, Jai 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 Ma,
Jai Ma, Shri Ma,
Jai Ma, Jai Ma, Shri Ma, Jai Ma,
Jai Ma, Shri Ma, Jai Ma,
Jai Ma, Shri Ma, Jai Ma,
Jai Ma, Shri Ma, Jai Ma,
Jai Ma, Shri Ma, Jai Ma, Jai Ma, Shri Ma, Jai Ma, dear mother, dear mother, Jai Ma, Jai
Hari Om. That was very beautiful. Thank you so much, Swan. Sister Vani, Krishna Kumari, Jivana, and Matt. And now they're going to help us clean the stage, clear the stage. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, welcome everyone and happy Saturday. My name is Swami Sugunananda. On behalf of Satchitananda Ashram Yogaville, I'd like to welcome you to this evening satsang. Satsang meaning a gathering of seekers of spiritual truth. How come everybody's far away? Come closer. Come and sit closer in the middle. We're going to watch a video of Sri Gurudev right now, and where there's going to be other people coming, but come close so we can all be close up together. Yeah, come on over. There we go. That way the live streamers will see we have a lot of people in the room. They don't think we have anybody because you guys are way on the sides. Okay. So, how many people are here for the first time tonight? Okay, quite a few. We want to welcome the Journey into Sound people with Swan. Which ones of you are in the Journey into Sound? Okay, great. And Finding Freedom with Tara. Who? Okay, very nice. Okay. And Sthira Suksham with Kate. Thus. All right, wonderful. And Arlinda's Asanas with Arlinda. Are they here tonight? No, they didn't come. Vienna Book Club didn't come. Okay, great. Welcome. And welcome to our live streamers who are watching from home. You're welcome to stand now and join in the prayers for world peace. Auspicious there on your yellow sheet, the side with a world on it. Auspiciousness be unto all. Perfect peace be unto all. Fullness be unto all. Prosperity be unto all. Happiness be unto all. Perfect health be unto all. May all see good in everyone. May all be free from suffering. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. You may be seated. Okay. So this evening we're going to do a couple of things. We're going to watch a video of Sri Gurudev on wellness, and then our beloved sister, Reverend Mala Cunningham, she's also a doctor, will talk to us about the healing power of yoga as far as your nervous system is concerned. And then we'll have an Arati, and then we'll go home. So, in the following video, Gurudev is speaking on wellness, the yogic approach, part 2. Please enjoy.
I was touching the point of how the system gets polluted by our wrongdoings. Mainly things that go in, the water, the drink that we drink. Should I say drink? Because here the connotation for drink is something always different, no? Comes out of bottle. Because you cannot say, did you have your drink? Have a drink. They don't immediately think it's water. Well, anyway, any liquid that goes in, if it is not clean, any air that goes in, it's not clean. Any food that goes in, it's not clean. Remember, when I say clean, 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 not only analytically, in the lab it is clean. Like a doctor certifies it's a healthy animal. So it's a clean animal. But that's not what I mean by cleaning. It's not completely clean. Does it bring good vibrations? Yeah. Is it the product of love? Is it given to you lovingly? Even a mother, in a sort of bad mood, if she nurses the baby falls sick. Because along with the milk, her vibrations get passed through. So, can the animals give you happily, come on, take my thigh, make soup of it? No. So the food, if it comes with bad vibrations, that gets polluted. Even though the doctor says it's clean animal, healthy animal, it's not really a healthy animal. So the food should bring good vibrations also. So when by eating food without considering all these things, we accumulate a lot of toxins. Physical food, toxins. Mental food, sins. One is sin, another is toxin. The same. So, how to clean it? Elimination is important. That's where the kriya comes in. You have to burn it out, you have to throw it out. You may have prevented from further coming in, but how do you remove it? Dauti, Vasti, Bastrika. That means cleaning the colon, the large intestines, cleaning the stomach. Probably it's simple. Drink half a gallon of water, little by little, not all of a sudden, and then do a little movement of the stomach. Like you pour water into the bottle, shake it, and then pour it out, and then throw it out. Of course, in the Western approach, they insert a long rubber tube into the alimentary canal until it reaches the stomach and then leave the rest down. So by siphon system, it comes out. But that's not really that comfortable. The simple way is just have a few glasses of water, shake the stomach, simply move it like this, pump it up, or just move this way, forward, backward, and then take a little salt with a wet finger, just touch the salt, put it against the throat, tickle a little, everything comes out. If you feel embarrassed, do it quietly in your bathroom, not in front of others. But here we teach them in front of others. So that's cleaning the stomach. Of course, the cleaning large intestine, the colon, is simple, like an enema. Recently somebody sent me a nice book from India, written in South Indian language, all about enema. Enema, for everything talks about an enema. It's true. In fact, somebody came with an inflamed, swelled eye. He couldn't even see. I said, come into the room, give him an enema first. What? I come with an eye problem, you are asking me to take an enema? Yes, sir. Your eye has to be purged out first. Fever, an enema. Cold, enema. Everything. Because that is where the manufacturing of the problem, toxins. So, but of course in the yogic way, instead of an enema, they insert a small tube and suck the air in with water. When you sit in the water, You don't have to go to that extent. Just an enema will be enough. Throwing out. And Bastrika with vigorous breathing, you put a lot of oxygen in and you burn it out. You clean the mucus. Anybody who has fever, hay fever, practice some Bastrika. You will just simply say, hey, fever, go, finished. Yeah. Very simple. Nasal blockage. And of course, some eye exercises. Tratak is one of the kriyas. Eliminating. Even the pranayama itself will help a lot. People who have problems in even giving up certain habits, which they call, I am addicted to this, addicted to that, overeating, drinking or smoking. If you have an addiction problem, it's mainly caused by the toxins that has already found home in your system. Unless all that is eliminated, you will continue to have the addiction. So burn it out. For that, pranayama is the best. Deep breathing, vigorous breathing, you literally burn it out. And more subtle approach is, I don't know how much you would like that, chanting. Chanting is an enchanting practice. You are using sound vibrations, mantra vibrations. Sound vibrations can burn it out. Now, a few days back, I even saw they are trying to bring it back again, some of the cleaning processes through sounds, ultrasonic. We can clean jewels and watches with sound alone. Because that has tremendous power. It can completely clean it out. It can penetrate to every cell, your sound energy, and clean it out. That's why the chanting is. And that's what you call prayer. Of course, prayer is not just only thinking or saying, it should be done well to bring out. That's the reason why we even give mantras. Mantras are certain phrases which has tremendous energy. Each letter can do something specially on your body. We call it bijakshara, or the seed letters. It can create heat if you want. It can cool your system. It can burn your mucus. It can take care of the wind problems. There is Agni Bija, Vayu Bija, Varuna Bija. So these are all using the sound vibrations. Just take, for example, if you feel a little cold. This is the winter season. How would you keep yourself warm? With a mantra. Would you like a mantra to keep yourself warm? Have some rum. Immediately you think, Swami asking us to take some rum? See, the name rum was given to it because it brings similar experience, similar energy like that of the Bijakshara rum. Ram is a Bijakshara. The name Rama is rooted in rum. Simply say rum, 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 rum. You will see tremendous heat coming into the system. Oh yes. Yam, lam, ram, vam, sham. These are all the 5 elements. Bijaksharas for 5 elements. Ram bija is, that's why Rama, 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 Rama is Ram included into that. It can fight off all the problems. That's why they use Ram a lot to fight. Of course, in the war they use Ram and Drum. So I'm talking about the power of the mantras, power of the syllables. That's also part of Kriya. So all these Kriyas are mainly practiced to eliminate, to throw out. Once the toxins are eliminated, you won't have the craving. Take, for example, smoking. The nicotine that has found home in your body, even if you don't want to smoke, the nicotine that is already in wants more nicotine. That's what you call craving. You don't want it. At the same time, something is wanting it in you. And what is that something that wants more nicotine? The nicotine that is already in your home. So, how to stop that? Throw it out. Eliminate that nicotine, you will never have problems. Otherwise, you are addicted. You want it more and more. That's why many people fail in stopping habits like drinking and smoking, because they don't clean out what is accumulated already in. And they tried to find some substitutes. Long before, some 15 years back, the drug rehabilitation program people from Washington approached me, and I even told them, I say, what is that for? They give another methadone. Huh? They give methadone, a substitute. Huh? Then people get addicted to that. That's another form of poison. Huh? Instead, simple yoga practice, change the diet, huh? Do a lot of pranayama, huh? Clean up your body. Huh? You don't have to have any substitute. Huh? And then we'll think over it. Then they went back and they never called me. I said, fine, leave it. But that was 15 years back. Now it's coming again. Huh? Thanks to some of the crazy doctors who wanted to prove that yoga, meditation, diet can help. In that respect, I salute my good friend, Dr. Anish. He has really achieved and proved to the world. Just by changing the diet, by meditation, by proper visualization, you can heal the heart. Now, it will be surprising for you to know that India wants him to go and tell them about yoga and meditation. In Delhi, the government, Indian Medical Institute, wants him to come and give a talk, tell us how yoga and meditation and diet is helping you. What can we do? Well, it's time. We export some yoga to India. Yeah. So, along with the other practice of Kriya, I will emphasize more of mantra, using mantra, chanting. Even if you don't have a regular mantra, chant something. Ram, 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 Ram. Om, 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 Om. Chanting. Develop sound, because you are communicating directly with the cosmic energy which you call God. In the beginning there was the word. Bible simply wrote it as word. But the real meaning is sound. In the beginning, there was the sound. That means the unmanifested God, when wanted to manifest first, express itself, it expressed as sound vibrations. Hindus call it Nada Brahmam. Nada means sound. So God created everything out of that sound. Let there be light, sound. God used sound, expressed itself as sound. Let there be light, there was light. So the world is created by sound, and it will certainly be destroyed by sound also. And that's a sound way of doing things. So if you want to communicate with that sound God, or God manifested as sound, use another sound. See, transmitting station and receiving set should vibrate in the same wavelength. Some of the sounds have the same frequency of that of the cosmic sound, which you call the divine sound. That's why sound is used to communicate with the ultimate energy or God, whatever term you want to use. Okay? I'll keep on talking. This maybe you have something else planned. Well, thank you. I really thank you from the bottom of my heart that you had taken the time to come and did they go around and see everything also? After lunch. Well, this whole ashram yoga we want to call it a wellness center. We want the place to be well, the people to be well, the children should be well, grown-ups to be well, physically, mentally, intellectually, spiritually, socially. So that's why my master Swami Shivanandaji always used to say, the essence of all these philosophies is nothing but be well and do well, or be good, do good. So I wish you good luck and success in bringing that wellness to all those people who approach you. But remember, charity begins at home. You get well first, and your wellness vibration should simply go and influence the patient. As the patient walk near you, they'll say, hey, I feel comfortable now. I feel all right. Even without you doing anything, you should emit that vibrations. That's why physicians heal thyself. You get well and then share that wellness to others. Don't constantly depend on this temporary remedies. Even the commercials always say, oh, it will give you a temporary cure. That's the commercial, a temporary cure. And that is very fast and tiny letter there. Don't believe in temporary, immediate. No. If you can avoid all these quick remedies, drugs, putting one drug in place of another drug, and go through the preventive method and more natural method, your patients will be happy and you will be doing a human service to everybody that walks into your door. I wish you well and God bless you. Om Shanti. Thank you.
Thank you for the tips on wellness. So, Reverend Dr. Mala Cunningham is here with us this evening, and she will continue on the subject of wellness. Name of her talk is What Happens to the Brain and Nervous System When We Do Our Yoga Practices. Dr. Mala Cunningham has a PhD in counseling psychology from the University of Wisconsin-Madison and did her postdoctoral work in the area of health, psychology, and wellness. She has a private psychotherapy practice in Charlottesville, Virginia, where she specializes in working with adults, couples, and families. She's also an assistant professor at the University of Virginia School of Nursing, where she teaches courses in medical yoga, neuroscience, and psychology. She's also the president of Positive Health Solution and the founder and director of several innovating programs. A few of them are Cardiac Medical Yoga Teacher Training Program, Neuroscience and Yoga Teacher Training Program, Mental Health Psychology and Yoga, and many more. Dr. Mala is a certified medical yoga therapist, a yoga therapist, and a teacher trainer. She has been teaching and practicing yoga for over 35 years. She also travels around the world teaching her innovative training programs and has been commissioned to write a book on neuroscience and yoga, mindset training for peak performance, which is coming out. Is it out yet? It's ready? In the spring, it'll be ready. Okay, great. So you might want to look for that book. Her passion is bringing together an intersection of medicine, psychology, neuroscience, and yoga. Please welcome her. She's going to speak from here. Oh, she did? Okay.
We're carrying it real easy. Is this where you want?
Can everyone see the slides from here? Yes? Okay, good. No?
Sure. We can come. There.
Okay. Good evening. It's nice to be here with all of you. I'm excited about this talk tonight. It's one of my favorite things to share in what happens in our neurobiology when we do the yoga practices and when we meditate. There is so much information out there these days, lots of research. It's like amazing how much this field has expanded in some very, very short years. So it's an exciting time. So I have a remote here, a remote control. You all know what a remote control is. And I think you all know that a lot of times people fight over the remote control because they want the control of the channel, whether to mute the commercials, whether to pause, or just whether to basically keep the same program on or turn off the TV, whatever. They have all the control. So this remote control is analogous to doing our yoga practices, because at any given time, what comes up in the brain, the mind, our patterns, all of those kinds of things, the yoga practices are all about changing the channel,
when we're thinking really negative thoughts, or we're in a bad mood, or we're depressed or anxious, whatever it is, we don't necessarily want that channel getting played out in our lives, right? We want to be able to have the skill to mute ourselves when we're going to spontaneously say something we don't really want to say, and then we're going to regret it, right? We want to be able to pause and reframe, course correct, and most important, honestly, is we want to be able to shut things down, shut our brain down, and meditate and go into stillness and have quiet, the same way we shut our TVs down, right? So the idea of yoga is really all about how do we train the brain. So let's just forget about everything else we've been told about yoga for just one moment. I know when I first started practicing yoga decades ago, the whole idea was enlightenment. That was it. And then it shifted into stress management, and then it shifted into various other incarnations that yoga took. But if we just pause for a moment and think about, why do you practice yoga? What is your objective? You might, on any given day, want to use yoga to relax. You might want to have a larger goal and objective in practicing yoga to realize God. That may be something that's very important to you, but there's a lot of steps in between knowing God and how to get there. Lots of steps. Deactivating defense mechanisms, deactivating anger or anxiety or depression, whatever it is. There's a whole lot of sort of minor but important goals along the way to enlightenment. So when we course correct, when we have an intention to course correct a bad attitude or a negative pattern or whatever it is, when we have that intention, there's something marvelous, magical that happens in the brain. And that is a phenomena called neuroplasticity, that we have the capacity to lay down new neural pathways throughout our lifetime. That was never thought of previously. But with the advent of new technology, we can see much better into the brain, and we now know that with repetition, and sometimes we have to fake it till we make it, but with repetition, with the practices, we can see new neural pathways starting to grow in the brain, and ones we don't need start to fade away. So an example of that is the amygdala. How many of you have heard of the amygdala? Can you raise your hands? Oh my, this is an informed audience. That's great. Okay, so then you probably know the amygdala is in the center of the brain. It comes from the Greek word, I always get it wrong, almond. I always want to say walnut, but it's almond. So the amygdala is an extremely important part of understanding the impact of the yoga practices on our brain and neurobiology. So the amygdala, they did a fascinating study with the amygdala. And what they found is after 8 weeks of mindfulness meditation, those who were doing the meditation practices versus the control group, they found that the amygdala not only shrunk in size because it wasn't being used as much, people weren't having as much threat reactions. It's kind of the threat detector in our environment. So when we feel uncomfortable or socially anxious, the amygdala will start flaring. Okay, so because we have a better capacity after meditating to self-regulate, the amygdala does not need to be as big as it was, and it doesn't need as many neural pathways going into it. So they saw these neural pathways had started to fade away, and the actual structure shrunk back to the correct size. So it's kind of fascinating, some of the events that happen in our neurobiology and in our brain when we do the yoga practices. So the key to neuroplasticity, I use an acronym. I like to use acronyms because it's so much easier for people to remember things. So I use the acronym CARE, just C-A-R-E. And what we need to do to change our neurobiology, change the structure and function of the brain, is we need to be curious about what's going on in our system. We have to be curious. If we're not curious, and if we don't bring the spotlight internal, then nothing's going to happen. So, curiosity. The second is awareness. We have to develop the skill set of awareness. If we don't do that, we're not going to get very far. We're not going to change our brain, we're not going to change our neurobiology, and we're not going to necessarily succeed with the yoga practices. We have to develop the skill of awareness. So I'm going to pause here because there are 4 areas of awareness that are really quite important. And I want to take you through an experience of these 4 areas. Again, another acronym for you. It's called PINE, P-I-N-E, okay? So we're going to start with P. What I'd like you to do, if you'd like to participate, is I'm going to lead you through these areas and I'm going to identify them for you. So if you would like to close your eyes, or you can look down if you want, either one is fine. And I'd like to invite you to go inside your skin and feel a sense of your muscles and your joints. So just take a moment and connect with an awareness of your muscles and joints. This is called proprioception. Now, I'd like you to just slightly shift and have an awareness of whether you're hungry or not, an awareness of your heart beating, an awareness of your respiratory system. This is called interoception, an awareness of what's going on inside your skin, except the muscles and joints, because that's proprioception. Now we're going to move to neuroception. Neuroception is subtle. It's the electromagnetic energy around your nervous system, head to toe. It vibrates, and we sometimes can feel that subtle energy when we're meditating. Perhaps we feel it up and down the spine or elsewhere, or you get an intuitive sense, you feel something off in your body. That's all neuroception. You might feel some sense that being in the presence of someone is uncomfortable. Okay? So, if you would, just go ahead and take a nice, deep, deep breath and squeeze your eyes really tight and open wide, blink rapidly, flutter your eyes, and then come fully back. All right, we've got one more. So, take a look around the room, if you would. Identify 3 objects, only 3, and just linger on those 3 objects for a moment. So what you're engaged in right now is called exteroception. So proprioception, interoception, neuroception, and exteroception. Developing the skill set to tap into these four areas is a critically important skill in yoga. I'm going to, before we do the slides, I'm going to flip what I was going to do at the end and do this now. Just because this is important information. I want to make sure you get it, you have this before we run out of time. So I wanted to give you some tips and strategies for tapping in, understanding what's going on in our neurobiology and what to do to enhance it. So morning practice, one of the things that's really helpful and good as we move from delta, brainwaves, deep sleep, theta, sleep, alpha, calm, relaxed, but you're awake. So as we move from theta brainwaves into alpha brainwaves, the idea is to encourage you to linger and enhance that. And then you're probably wondering why. You want to create alpha brainwaves because that brainwave is connected to our parasympathetic nervous system. And when the parasympathetic nervous system is activated, it's got a job to do. The same way our sympathetic nervous system has a job to do. The parasympathetic nervous system, its job is to release hormones and neurotransmitters in your system so that you feel more calm, more relaxed, more grounded. You can't feel those things unless you have a release of certain hormones and neurotransmitters that happen. And the yoga practices and the meditation practices impact on the release of those hormones and neurotransmitters. The same way, when we need to be alert, we are releasing spurts of cortisol, adrenaline, noradrenaline in the brain and in the body. And that's what gives us an alert state, okay? And I'll talk more about that in just a moment. So one thing, again, linger between the theta and the alpha state, and then carry that through your day as much as possible. When you get up, splash cold water on your face. Why? Because that activates the parasympathetic nervous system. It's connected to a phenomena called the mammalian dive reflex. And this dive reflex is a self-preservation, self-survival mechanism that happens. Like when children fall into cold water, you wonder, they've been underwater for a long time. Why do they survive? And it's because our system is designed to shut down. Not necessarily die, it can go into shutdown first, and that's the mammalian dive reflex. And it's the parasympathetic nervous system that fully activates under that condition. So we want to splash cold water on our face to activate the parasympathetic nervous system. We also want to expose our eyes to sunlight, not directly at the sun, but just stepping out on your back porch, just take in the beautiful day, the sun is out. This releases serotonin in the system, okay? And serotonin is a pleasure hormone. Cortisol, I want to address cortisol because everybody thinks cortisol is the stress hormone. Yes and no, okay? That's very important. It's a yes and no. When it's in too high of levels, then it's a stress hormone. When it's in the right range, we need it for alertness. So what happens is at around 11 o'clock at night, our cortisol levels go down and our melatonin levels go up and we go to sleep, you see? In the morning at around 7 o'clock, our melatonin levels go down and our cortisol levels increase because we need alertness. So cortisol is not a bad thing at all. It's only when it's in too high of a range that it's not so great. Okay, during the day, there is a practice that I give to my clients and my students, and this is called micro-resting. So when we're going about our day, inevitably we're busy, things are happening, we start to get stressed and all of those kinds of things. So one way to recalibrate and reset is to do this micro-resting. So I'll take you through that. It'll just take a few minutes. And actually, I'm going to add on some things. So I'm going to ask you, let me see. I think I'll try to explain what's happening in our neurobiology as we're doing these things. So have you ever wondered why we teach the eye exercises in yoga? I mean, have you really ever thought about what is that doing? Like maybe it's relaxing the eyes, maybe it's not, who knows? But what the eye exercises do is, especially, I was going to have you do this, when we take our palms and do just a soft pressure, just a very gentle pressure, what we're doing, and you can go ahead and do it while I'm talking, what we're doing here is we're activating the vagus nerve through the trigeminal nerve. The trigeminal nerve, you want to use your palms into your eye socket. Gentle pressure, very gentle. The trigeminal nerve has connective neural pathways to the vagus nerve. And so when we're pressing gently, and then all of a sudden we just relax our hands, we might find ourselves taking a yawn, a sigh, or a deep breath. And that's a signal that the parasympathetic nervous system has become activated. Okay? So like right now, I just did it for a few seconds and I took a deep breath. It works. It's pretty amazing. So there's all these wonderful connections between the yoga practices and our neurobiology. And I'm fascinated by how and why yoga works and what is happening. So let's just go ahead and just wipe across your eyes and your forehead. Just give yourself a nice, easy little massage. And wipe across your cheeks. And then split your fingers, forefinger and middle finger, front and back of the ear, and just massage up and down, front and back of the ear. Now, you might find yourself yawning or sighing or taking a deep breath. Again, that's a signal the parasympathetic nervous system is coming online. Ranjani just yawned. There are many other of these type of techniques. You can, and the reason that it's working is the vagus nerve makes up 75 to 80% of the parasympathetic nervous system. That's huge. And the vagus nerve is very complex. They know some things about it, obviously, but there's a lot they still don't know. But it wanders through the body through branches. There's two parts to the vagus nerve. They call it a singular vagus nerve, but there's actually two nerves that make up the vagus nerve. And it starts at the back of the neck, the 10th cranial nerve. It goes down the neck, and with branches goes into the eyes, the nose, the throat, the ears. That's why when you stimulate that part of the body, you're stimulating a relaxation response. And then you get pleasurable hormones that activate, and you feel good. And that's the connection of what's happening. So I want to talk to you for a moment. Why I know some teacher training programs teach that when you inhale, it's alerting, right? I'm sure some of you must have heard that. When you exhale, it's relaxing. Why? Why is that? Well, we do know now why. When we inhale, there's a part of the brain, a tiny little part in the brainstem area called the locus ceruleus. And when we inhale, actually, let me say this first. The locus ceruleus is made up, there are a lot of receptors in this tiny little area of the brain that are receptors for adrenaline, cortisol, noradrenaline, those type of alerting, activating, and in high amounts, it's what causes the fight or flight response. But in the normal range, it's fine. So when we inhale, that part of the brain lights up because we're getting oxygenation into the brain, you see? When we exhale, now some of you may know this, you know, our diaphragm muscle, right? We're taught diaphragmatic breathing. Why? Why are we taught that? What is it doing, right? What it's doing, it's really quite fascinating. There is a hole in the diaphragm called the esophageal hiatus. Hiatus means gap. So the esophagus goes through the diaphragm. It has to go through the diaphragm to get to the stomach. Okay? So there's a gap in our diaphragm. The vagus nerve piggybacks through that gap to get to the lower part of our abdominal area, and it infuses into the intestinal tract and all of that in the lower abdominal area, the vagus nerve. So when we exhale and we pull the diaphragm in, and we even pull it up a little bit, so that's another piece. But when we push it, when we pull it in with the exhalation, we're stimulating the vagus nerve and getting another parasympathetic nervous system response. You see? So we inhale, it's alerting. We exhale, it's relaxing. It's causing a neurobiological process in the system of alerting and relaxing. Okay? In the 1940s and 50s, I'm sure you've heard at some point that there was a polio epidemic during that time, right? Many people were dying because that virus paralyzes the lungs and a person can't breathe. So they developed the iron lung machine. Do you all remember that, or you've heard of it, right? There was a big problem in the beginning stages of the first iron lung machines, and people were dying on them. They didn't know and understand that they needed to, well, let me actually say it this way. The iron lung machine had a mechanical inhale-exhale process. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. And it did not account for our body's need for two things. One, deep breaths, and two, the sigh reflex. And people were dying until they figured it out that they had to account for both of those mechanisms, those ideas, right? So the sigh reflex is a fascinating phenomena. Jack Feldman out of UCLA is probably one of the world's most renowned scientists investigating respiratory action and the sigh reflex and things like that. So every 5 minutes we sigh. And you probably have no idea that that's what, Divyananda just sighed there. And we have no idea that we're sighing. But this recalibrates our brain and our respiratory system. We need the sigh reflex. So my invitation is to be aware of that. Be aware, because all of a sudden you'll be in a meeting or whatever, and you'll be like that. So what the sigh reflex does, and this is very, very important, you know, the alveoli in the lungs, they're like a whole bunch of grape-like, you know, little things in our lungs that expand when we inhale and collapse when we exhale. So if we do not have deep breaths and the sigh reflex, the alveoli, some of them can collapse and then not reactivate. And this compromises our lung function. And then people start to feel, just like not satisfied with their breathing and feel a bit compromised in their ability to, just run a mile or something like that. So expanding the alveoli is a very important part of respiratory health. All right, so I'll tell you one more story and then we'll do the slides. So several months ago, I was watching a documentary on Vincent van Gogh. During his lifetime, he had severe mental health issues. He had attempted suicide several times. He had been hospitalized. He was poor. His brother basically supported him pretty much his whole adult life. And he said one time, he was attributed to saying this, and as soon as they said it, I just sat up and I went, oh my God, that's yoga. And what he said was 5 words: I paint to not think. Those are really powerful words. What do you do to not think when your mind has taken you down a rabbit hole and you're stuck there? So yoga invites you to do practices like Pradabhakshabhavana, cognitive revamping, distraction. Gurudev would say, if you can't get out of your mind that's taken you down these rabbit holes, he would say, get up and dance, move around, yell, scream, sing the mantras, sing whatever. Distractions, shift, recalibrate the brain. Sometimes we need that. All right, let's take a look at the slides. So I talked about training the brain and how important that is. So the process of training the brain is to look at it as an inverted pyramid. We are in the busy mind a lot during our day, but training the brain means that we have to consider neurogenesis, growing new neural pathways, which means you intentionally laying down a new roadway in your brain that is more positive, more serving to what you want in life. So they talk about, in neuroscience, they talk about neurons that fire together, wire together. So repetition is a very important part of this process. Did I finish the care thing? I don't think I did I? I just realized that. Yeah. Thank you. Yes, so curiosity, awareness, repetition, and engagement. Be engaged with what it is you're doing and the skill sets that you want to develop to make your life better, to get over anxiety and depression and fear or social anxiety or whatever it is that you're struggling with, or whatever defense mechanisms get in the way of you being happy. What can you do to lay down new neural pathways? Again, the brain doesn't know the difference between reality and embedding ideas in the brain. It's going to have the same response. So that's why I said earlier, fake it till you make it, okay? So training the brain means that you're moving from beta brain waves and you want to cultivate alpha brain waves and gamma brain waves. Very important, and I'll get back to that in just a moment. Patanjali talks about cease agitation of the mind. which means if we're revamping it into modern language, we want to cultivate concentration and anchoring concepts. Those are the skill sets that are really important. So what is your objective? What is your objective? I am practicing yoga to blank. You can put anything in there you want. Overcome anxiety, overcome depression, not be angry anymore, not be a people pleaser. What is your goal for practicing yoga for the next month? It doesn't have to be the lifetime goal of yoga, but it could be something you could pick to work on. So focusing and attentional practices, the more I have done a deep dive into and writing this book, the more I've looked at the research and I've studied yoga for a long, long time, I have come to the conclusion that some of the most powerful practices in yoga is to develop drishti, concentration practices, focusing the mind. They are so powerful. Drishti is a focusing, gazing practice where you can blink. Tradaka, training the brain and practicing tradaka, you want to not blink as long as you can. So you might start very small, staring for 4 seconds or to a count of 4, and then build from there. It's very important that you not strain. But the power and the impact on your brain when you do these gazing practices is amazing. So why don't we take just a moment, and if you want to hold your elbow like this, at eye level, put your thumb like this. To your own capacity, stare without blinking and count in your mind how long you can do that. And then gently close your eyes and visualize your thumb inside your mind's eye. So just go back and forth on your own. Staring, then closing your eyes. When you're ready, you can start again. Okay, go ahead and close your eyes. Take your arm down and observe your brain. Chances are your brain feels much more relaxed and focused. I see some people nodding, yes. It's pretty powerful stuff. So in the Mandukya Karika, I love this quote. When the mind gets into a state of drowsiness, this is during meditation, stimulate and awaken it. These are the gamma waves. Hyper-focused and concentrated. You're developing and experiencing gamma brain waves. Okay? Alpha is more of a relaxed state, slower brainwave patterns that invoke feelings of peace and relaxation. So the Mandukya Karika says, when the mind gets into a state of drowsiness, stimulate and awaken it. As it starts speeding up and distractions set in, calm it down. And this is the part I love. Do this again and again and again. That's training your brain. I had to forget all about God realization, and I had to start working with the idea of training my brain because it was too big of a leap for my brain, for our brains, to think about some connection to some invisible God, that the key to knowing this God is to feel your way into it, right? But if no one told us that at the time, then we're sitting there waiting for God, and somehow he, she, it never shows up the way we expect he, she, it to show up. So I'm suggesting that we start with small, measurable goals that you can actually realize and feel good along the way until it gets so pronounced that then God shows up inside of you. You see? So this is all about repetition. It reinforces change in the neural structure of our brain. So we want to ask, what patterns do you want to heal or change? When we focus in meditation, after doing all this research, I think it's very, very important that we align our meditational focus with our learning style. Some people are visual learners. Some people are kinesthetic learners. They've got to touch in order to really absorb and understand. And other people are auditory learners. I'm a visual learner, and we all have all of them, but we have a dominant pattern. When I was initiated and given a mantra, I felt like I was swimming upstream for years until I learned and understood through my psychology training the idea of learning styles and how our brain feels most comfortable if we're in alignment with our learning style. So what I had to do is I had to flip mantra repetition into visualizing the mantra. And then it was like, thank you. I felt like I was swimming downstream, you see? So I developed what's called the FAR meditation method. FAR is another acronym, stands for focus your mind during meditation, keep it alert, and keep it relaxed. And we're hitting gamma brain waves and alpha brainwave patterns. And gamma and alpha are, if you haven't figured it out yet, that's the zone. That's peak performance. That's what the brain waves look like of athletes who are doing extraordinary things. And you know, like Michael Jordan in the game against the Milwaukee Bucks in 1993, he scored 63 points that night. That's unheard of in basketball. I mean, it's a little more known these days that people can hit 50 or so, but 30 was the high points for any player, and they were outstanding players. He knew before he walked out on the court that night, he said, I am going to kill it tonight. He told all his teammates that, and he went out and made 63 points. It's extraordinary what our brain can do when we know how to train it to activate gamma and alpha brain waves. We can do miracles with this. Oh, wait, let's go back. All right, training our brain is no different than what the Navy SEALs do, what the martial artists do in all traditions of martial arts, and it's no different than what they do in the biathlon Olympic event. You know, they do the cross-country skiing, and they're way in sympathetic over-arousal, and then they have to stop and shoot and hit a target, which takes a parasympathetic response to do that. So how do they train their brain and bodies to do that? It's quite phenomenal. It's possible. It's possible. So I'm going to move through this a little bit fast because I want to get to what happens in the brain during some of the yoga practices. So attentional practices have been shown to light up the brain's ventral striatum. That's the reward circuitry in the brain. So when we do drishti and tradaka practices and we're really concentrating, we are activating the reward and pleasure circuits in the brain, you see. It also activates the prefrontal cortex, relaxes the amygdala's firing, slows down impulsivity and emotional reactivity. So we're learning how to emotionally regulate when we're doing these practices because our biology, our neurobiology is with us. It's helping us to achieve the goal of peace and relaxation. So this is just an example, again, another acronym for you. I use the acronym DOSE to identify 4 of the major, more commonly known neurotransmitters and hormones. Dopamine invokes feelings of happiness and pleasure. Oxytocin, the cuddle hormone, we feel compassion and love. If you didn't release oxytocin, you would not feel compassion toward others or toward yourself. It's not possible to do it without these hormones and neurotransmitters. Serotonin regulates our moods, sleep, calms anxiety, relieves depression, and endorphins are natural pain medication hormones. It helps us feel better and improves our mood and so on. So real quickly, when we meditate, we have over time, an increased thickness of the left hippocampus. Why is that important? Because it helps us with improved learning, cognition, and memory. It improves emotional regulation, more resilience to stress and stress-related issues, and reduces levels of depression and PTSD. So why do we want to meditate? There's the research for you. That's why we want to meditate. That's why we want to train the brain. Oh, it's just showing the before and after meditational practices.
Is it 1, 2, 3, 4, that's the end, or is it 1, 2, 1, 2?
It's the top 2 and the bottom 2. Yeah, and I can send you the slide and the study. So meditation and gray matter. Why do we want more meditation and yoga practices produce more gray matter in the brain? Why is that important? Why do we care? It's really important because what happens when we have more gray matter is we have more neuronal activity and we have more neural pathways in the brain. And that's a good thing. We want those, additional neural pathways for sort of a more robust process in the brain and recalibrating the brain. Now, we don't want them necessarily overproduced in places like the amygdala, but in the gray matter, we want them. When we have significantly large, meditators have significantly larger volumes of gray matter in the orbital frontal cortex, the thalamus. You don't need to know all this stuff. The bottom line is these are regions known for regulating emotions. That's the takeaway point. And that's why we want to train the brain. That's why we want to work with the brain. The brain is an organ, by the way, in case you didn't know that. The brain is an organ. And it's so important that we take care of the brain. We take care of our stomachs and we take care of other parts of our body, but we rarely think about what can I do to have the brain be healthier and work for me and produce the right levels of hormones and neurotransmitters so I feel better, right? The brain is an organ, and I would just love it if when you go to sleep, just like, hey, thanks for working with me all day. It might sound silly, but it makes a difference. Real quickly, the parietal lobe is a part of the brain. It's like back over here on the side a little bit. Its function is to process sensory stimuli. This is a picture of someone's parietal lobe. At baseline, you see on the right side, it's got a lot of blood flow to it. On the right side, when people start to relax, we're reducing the sensory stimuli into our system. So our nervous system doesn't have to be ramped up all the time processing stimuli. We want to shut that down and quiet it down during our meditation time. This is very important, gamma-aminobutyric acid. Can you raise your hand if you've heard of GABA? Oh, what a great audience. Okay, so this is a neurotransmitter in both the brain and the body. It regulates brain activity. Other areas, it helps regulate muscle tone. Now, GABA has an inhibitory function. It slows down firing of our neurons, okay, which is a good thing. If we're anxious, we want a slowing of those, neuronal process. Other neurotransmitters like adrenaline, noradrenaline, dopamine, and so on have an excitatory function. They stimulate neuronal firing. This is very complicated. There's lots of different things that happen with all these different things. This is one thing that this does. So problem is if you have too little GABA, then neurons fire too easily and too often, and this can cause anxiety. Too much GABA, you can't get moving, and you're depressed. And studies show that yoga impacted on regulating GABA and decreased anxiety and depression levels. That's like really important stuff. So antidepressant medications, the SSRIs, work by increasing GABA levels. Pranayama, asana, and meditation also increase GABA levels in the brain. And multiple studies have shown that yoga practices, compared with antidepressants, work as well or better in increasing GABA in the brain. What causes low GABA levels? Things like genetics, prolonged stress, lack of exercise, lack of good nutrition, and so on. Okay, I'm gonna just touch on a few things because we're done. Yeah, so if you want to get rid of inflammation is systemic. It's an epidemic in our culture, in our world. The foods we eat, the environmental toxins create a lot of inflammation in our system, and we don't even know it. And all of a sudden you have GI problems, that's inflammation. You have heart disease, huge inflammatory impact. The yoga practices, study after study shows that the yoga practices regulate our vagus nerve to reestablish homeostasis and reduce the inflammatory response. Resilient people bounce, they don't break. You want to develop resiliency, your ability to bounce back much more quickly and efficiently when you're under stress. Okay, I think that I covered a lot of this. So yoga practices are all about self-care, self-regulation, self-responsibility, resiliency, and higher emotional awareness. And epiceko is a Pali word meaning come and see for yourself, not because you read or were taught something, but because you experienced it yourself. So I invite you to experience the yoga practices in a whole different way than you have been. Think about what's happening in your neurobiology. Watch when you sigh. Watch when you feel that spurt of energy and ask yourself, why? What's happening here? And it's because all of these chemicals, you have a pharmacy. We have a pharmacy inside our skin. And I'm just inviting you to think about the pharmacy and how it's activating during your day. Thank you so much. Did you want to? Oh, you're coming.
Serves.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mala. Where are you? The speaker sits next to Mataji here. You can come sit here. Okay. We learned a lot. Did we learn a lot tonight? Yes. Look at that. eyebrows going up. Okay, great. Next weekend, we have another wonderful person with a lot of good information on yoga. You may have heard of him, Biff Mythhofer. You've heard of Biff? He'll be here to speak to us at Satsang. So we hope you'll come next weekend as well, or at least tune in to Vimeo.com. And actually, the satsang can be seen live or recorded from anywhere on the planet on our Vimeo or YouTube pages. Okay. Tomorrow morning, there is a puja in Chidambaram Temple at 8 a.m. Does everybody know where Chidambaram is? Great. Okay, 8 o'clock in the morning, worship service there. And now we will have an Arati. An Arati is an offering of light. The offering of light will be accompanied by the Jyoti chant. The Jyoti chant describes the way this divine light expresses itself in the world. A small candle light symbolizing the divine light within each of us will be offered to a larger light on stage, which symbolizes the divine cosmic light. And then finally, the little light will be offered to you, our live streamers. And we're going to flip the light on over here so we can look on stage. The light on the side there is the light of the booth. Okay. Finally, the light is offered to you and our Vimeo streamers. You may extend your hands at the end and draw the light toward you as a blessing. You're welcome to stand for the Arati and join in the Jyoti chant. It's in the back of your yellow sheet. Om Jyoti 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 Swayam Jyoti 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 Param Jyoti 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 Arul Jyoti 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 Shivam Vama Jyoti Soma Jyoti Vana Jyoti Jnana Jyoti Maha Jyoti Yoga Jyoti Vata Jyoti Nada Jyoti Ema Jyoti Vyoma Jyoti Eru Jyoti Viru Jyoti Eka Jyoti Eka Jyoti Eka Jyoti Jyoti He Light, O light of self-effulgence, light, O light of absoluteness, light, O light of gracefulness, light, O light of auspiciousness, light of Shiva, light of moon, light divine, light of wisdom, light of heaven, light of yoga, light of wind, light of sound, light, the light, light of water, rising light, vital light, the only light, the only light. Give us light, O light of lights. Asato ma sadgamaya, tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityor ma amritam gamaya. Lead us from unreal to real, lead us from darkness to the light, lead us from the fear of death to the knowledge of immortality. Om Sahana Vavatu, Sahana Bhunaktu, Saha Viryam Karavavahai, Tejasvinavaditamastu, Ma Vidvishadvahai. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. May God protect us, grant us wisdom's fruit. May we gain energy to know the truth. May our intellects grow clear and bright. May we cherish no ill feeling toward anyone. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Loka samasta sukino bhavantu. May the entire universe be filled with peace and joy, love and light. May the light of truth overcome all the darkness. Jai Sri Sadguru Maharaj Ki Jai. Thank you all for coming this evening to Satsang. Have a wonderful weekend. Stay blessed always. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.